Planning Commission for rezoning the property located at East North and Romano Street owned by Oliver Godwin from C3 commercial to C2 commercial. I would ask Mr. Carrington to come and speak first. We'll field any questions. Mr. Carrington?
I'm going to ask you all this evening that I would like to see a conditional use for hotel and or restaurant and leave the zoning C3. We've had $2 million of our taxes have been spent on opening up East North. You just spent some money for other improvements tonight, both water and sewer. You had 6 people vote unanimous on the Planning Commission. Their whole job is to hear it and then give you all the opportunity to vote with them. An unofficial poll was done through the Magnolia Reporter. It's my understanding that the city people who voted for it were in favor of it. All the property that lies south of East North for this connection is all C2, where East Columbia comes into East North. If, for instance, a hotel comes into Magnolia, you all draw an AP tax of 3% from the hotel rooms that are rented out per night. That comes to approximately $2,700. Those monies have been used for the Boys Club. In addition to, you draw 3/4 of 1% for a sales tax. You also draw money or use money for county road tax. You use money 0.01 for millage for police and fire pension. One particular hotel in mind, you receive real estate taxes of $24,000. 79% of that goes to the schools. 0.4 mil goes to your police and firemen pension. I think it is a good and positive thing for Magnolia. Also, the MEDC published some findings, and in the report it says, the report indicates that strategic priorities for the city and the county should include business development and retention, marketing, communications, workforce, community development, and organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carrington. Are there any questions for Mr. Carrington?
I've got a question. The same for a restaurant or a hotel.
We had a party. They are not a player at this point in time. We have another party who has shown interest at the end of last week.
C3 with conditions?
That's correct, that a hotel and or restaurant be placed there, that I have that option.
Limited to a hotel or a restaurant?
And or. Because sometimes with hotels, you do have the restaurant.
Point of order. Mr. Carrington has now shifted and apparently has abandoned his request for a rezoning. He has every right to request a variance from the provisions of the zoning chapter under the current zone. But that request was vested in the Planning Commission. They have the authority to grant a variance, and if they do, it doesn't even come back before the council. The final decision can be made in the Planning Commission if the owner requested a variance as opposed to a rezoning. The City Council has the sole authority to approve a rezoning. The Planning Commission has sole authority to grant a variance. So there is a specific procedure that applicants must follow in requesting a variance, which, as I said, goes to the Planning Commission, and they make the final decision subject to court review if they're agreed by the decision of the Planning Commission. Are there any questions about that? I mean, it's Mr. Nelson, when's the Planning Commission meeting?
Next Monday.
What do we need to do as a city, Mr. Bill?
Well,
as I understand, and I invite Mr. Carrington to correct me, but as I understand it, he's withdrawing his request for rezoning. He's now agreeing, abandoning that request and asking for a variance, which would leave the property zone as C3, which it currently is. And if that's the case, then you need to do nothing because he's withdrawing his request.
Well,
He will now go to the planning commission and request a variance.
Mr. Carrington?
I see it as two things, Mr. Bell, and the reason I say, when I came before the planning commission before, I was told, yeah, you can do things, but then a new ordinance was provided because I did not send out some letters, but no one was aware of it, even the mayor and the city inspector, that there was a new ordinance that was done 7.5 years ago, but nobody was aware of it. I'm not really changing what I'm doing. I think it is more detailed, and that seemed to be where some folks felt like it needed to be a little more detailed. I would think leaving it C3 and giving me the variance, because I was already approved through the planning commission for a C2 zoning to begin with.
Under our scheme, the council does not have the authority to grant a variance. Only the planning commission can grant a variance. The council has the exclusive right to rezone after a recommendation is made by the planning commission, one way or the other. So, I hear what Mr. Carrington is saying. After being aware of the action that the planning commission took previously on this, I suspect he will receive a warm welcome with this request if it follows what he did before. So, but if he is withdrawing his request for rezoning, you have nothing further to do. And you don't have the authority to grant a variance.
I have a question. If we go back to the planning commission, they can give him what he needs and it doesn't come back to the council.
That's correct.
Or he can leave what's on paper and ask for a rezoning since it's what we're here for.
That's correct.
Is it his option to make at this point?
Yes. But I'm just saying what he just presented was a variance and not a rezoning. But yes, he certainly has that option.
He can take that back.
Mr. Nelson?
But before you send him back to the planning commission, he's past the deadline to go on next week's agenda. I just want to be clear with that. So it would have to be the August meeting before he could come to planning commission to request a variance.
Or a special meeting.
Or a special call meeting.
So at this point, is it up to Mr. Carrington which way he would like to go with
Yes,
this?
yes, he can either withdraw his request and seek a variance, or he can go forward with his request and appeal and have it rezoned.
Mr. Carrington?
If I come before you and ask that I hold it to C2, and if the vote does not go correctly tonight, does that mean that I cannot bring it up before you again?
It means that you cannot bring up for a year a rezoning request.
Okay.
You can appeal it to circuit court.
If we vote yes, let's say he gets a negative vote tonight, would he be able then to go in front of the planning commission and get the variance on the C3?
Yes. It's not precluded from seeking the variance if you deny the request for rezoning. If you grant the rezoning request, he has no need to seek the variance. Is that clear?
Mr. Carrington?
Then can I do a special meeting then, or do I have to wait till August? In my business, gentlemen, I don't know how many of y'all are in the sales business, but time is of the essence generally. And I've messed with this now for 30 days. And as I've read, everything that has been done tonight and previously has been for the betterment of Magnolia. And if there's one of you that can find something that I have done as a realtor, being here for 30 years and done something that was negative, please stand up and tell me that. Or any part of my family that has done something. We have always done something positive. I've tried to do it again tonight. But each time there's a little twist here and there. And I understand the laws. I'll abide by the laws. But you have the opportunity to say something. And I don't hear anything. My last meeting I came was a dead issue. No one said anything. I think just a little bit, since I have 2 city council members, they should say something. I've got a gentleman that owns a piece of property. You know, we're trying to do something for him. And we keep being put back and put back.
He goes back to the disaster. We go ahead with the C2. And it fails. He goes back to the planning commission, special call meeting.
And, yes,
You can ask for a variance.
correct.
Mr. Godwin has asked that we go ahead and have a count, with the condition that I can call a special meeting and meet with the planning commissioners.
Well, I mean, that's up to the planning commission. I assume they will probably do that. It's up to the planning.
What is that, count really necessary? You're gonna, look at the other option of going back before the planning commission?
My gentleman who owns the property said he would like to see a vote tonight. If the vote does not become positive, then I will order or ask for a special meeting of the planning commissioners.
Mr. Carrington, look further.
I think he's through now. It's, those in opposition have an opportunity.
Ms. Patsy Bentley, please come to the podium.
Handouts again. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, the citizens living in the Marcella Avenue and Ramona Street areas are still highly concerned that the proper zoning of Mr. Godwin's property located at 1820 North Street remain a C3 and be developed as defined in the zoning manual for community and neighborhood-oriented use. Plenty of different types of commercial businesses compatible to the area could be built in this zone. Because the property was recently changed from an R1 to a C3, changing it yet again so soon to a more extensive C2 does not make sense to us. According to the zoning manual, C2 represents highway-oriented uses. Businesses with the C2 zoning, such as hotels or motels, drive-in restaurants, automotive service stations, repairs and sales, etc., do not need to be located on that particular property, but instead built on the bypass where that C2 zoning already exists. The tax-paying property owners in this area are not against a new hotel for Magnolia. We just want a C2 business to be located in a proper C2 zone. One landowner of a C2 zone property on the bypass is open to selling his land for a hotel. Other areas along the bypass that have properties for sale or lease, according to the signs, are through Isla Realty, Darrell Rogers Realty, Darrell May, Greg Bennett Company, and Carrington Realty. Surely someone desiring to build a hotel would be able to negotiate buying or leasing property along there for travelers could easily see the establishment. You can again see by this map all the R1 and R2 areas all along both sides of North Street. R1 north of Mr. Godwin's property, and R1 and P1 east of his location. Jumping across North Street, a natural dividing line, and saying that Mr. Godwin's property would, quote, just be an extension of the southern and only C2 along this part of North certainly looks like spot zoning to us. As for the master zoning plan for Magnolia, I felt the main primary concern in expanding North Street from Jackson to the bypass was for safety reasons and traffic flow. Not to say on a master zoning plan that all the land along it should be then zoned for commercial. Even though there are some businesses along the route, the majority of the properties are residential homes. As you may note, some additional names of almost all the local property owners and other Magnolia citizens concerned about this zoning proposal have been added to the petition that I presented at the last meeting. Again, some neighbors who were against the zoning did not feel that they could sign it due to possible repercussions to their jobs or similar reasons. The neighborhood citizens and I ask you to please keep Mr. Godwin's properties on C3. Thank you for letting me speak to you about this issue.
Any questions for Ms. Bentley? Thank you, Ms. Bentley.
I wish I would ask questions. I got answers.
Well,
You have a problem with the variance also, right?
Yes, sir. I do. If that were to happen, then I'm sure I'll be back for the planning commission.
I've always believed in doing this right, and I respect it's north side of that highway, there's been residential street, nice homes. And the south side, I say the highway, I'm on the south side of East North Street, there's not any homes up there. You got the church, and it's just, I'm not against economic development by any means. But still, I think you got to go around some of it, and extension, that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to reduce economic development, like I call myself one of these, you know. Some others may not, but that's my personal feelings in it. And I would have to know, talking about a restaurant, C3 allows a restaurant. I don't think it allows the drive-in type, that type thing, church.
The main concern is regulation of the neighborhood area of
Well, we just,
traffic.
yes, so traffic, you weren't here at the last meeting, but we're worried about more traffic on the Marcella and Ramona and trash, and there are little children that are on both streets too, and we have enough kind of traffic already heading through that we've seen an increase in that, especially on Ramona in the last few years. And then also with a hotel, and you never know who's gonna be coming, how that hotel's gonna be, or even if, say that someone wanted to buy the land for the hotel, who's to say that he might turn around, or she, and sell it to someone else? Once that land is sold and once it's zoned C2, or has a variance for a hotel, then, you know, that's kind of sad. And then also, if it were one, which I would assume it would be 2 or 3 stories, I'm not sure that even from our backyard, you might be able to see 2 windows in a hotel, but I would hate to think that people could look out in our backyards and see everything we're doing with, you know, the way that some people can be nowadays. And children and grandchildren. You know, that type of thing also concerns me, and like I said, I'm not sure, you know, if that would even be possible or not. But it does concern us about that when, as I pointed out, and you see a map there, that I had someone call me that this land is available for a hotel. This person is really waiting for someone to, you know, contact them, and then all the other sites that are already C2 along the bypass. You know, why does this one need to be C2 or have a variance as a C3 for a hotel? That doesn't make sense. That's, you know, kind of the bottom line. There's plenty that can go in there as a C3, plenty of types of businesses. As you look in your last 2 pages, there's plenty of things that a C3 can be used for that land without it being a hotel. Or a drive-through, if you get C2, you know, you can have a service station right there. So, or a drive-through restaurant, which would even be more cash. So, you know, I strongly ask you to think seriously that this does not need to be a C2, nor, you know, as I said, if he comes back with a variance, if y'all vote against it, which would be great, but if he comes for a variance, I'm sure we'll all be here for the planning commission to see if we can be on that agenda also.
Any other questions for Ms. Patsy?
I might comment, Patsy, you know, of course, has me really between a rock and a hard place because all my neighbors are out here. I'm right there in the middle of that. Of course, this particular property was very close to yours. We had neighbors across the street, 3 houses for sale now.
Well, that's
And of
kind
course,
of
that's
unfortunate with one with the passing of one of the owners.
But I've always been one that's been in favor of commercial zoning in particular areas in this city, in particular, since we're spending so much money on East North, I kind of felt like it's important to do that. Now, that being said, I voted against Mr. Godwin's request to go from R1 to C3, and that was because the city had some pending litigation with him for his easement. And I felt like we should have had all that worked out at one time. But unfortunately, I'm kind of in favor of going with it, but I don't think he's going to have the votes. I bet.
Yeah. Just remember, it is commercial right now. This is what kind of commercial, okay? And that's what you have to keep in mind there, Sam, is what could be put in there if it were open to anything as a C2. C3 has lots of stuff.
And we've got a lot pretty close to us already. It's pretty commercial.
Councilman Lewis?
I would also like to emphasize that, so I don't think, Slade, I don't believe any home speaker of there has been built on East North Street. But also, one of the purposes of widening it is for the traffic flow, not just the fact of having it. Been widened just for a business, certainly businesses, there's all kinds of problems, and I'm sure it's been changed over the years, so you can do something. But it goes to two major, it goes by every student on the west side of kindergarten. It's over there, it will be this coming year, the east side school. You got the nursing home, you got the private school, and it's not just it's the traffic flow in addition. I mean, the street is for use, and I'm not going to deny that to anybody. Businesses can come in and get this something, they already are. It's not just for business purposes.
Councilman Craig?
I agree with Councilman Lewis. Basically, East North Street is a small country road, dangerous country road that's right in the middle of downtown Magnolia. With all the business, Wentworth, CCF, Columbia Christian out there, Walmart, you know, that was the reason why we're spending millions of dollars to widen that street. Not to make it another East Main. Now, there's no one in this town who wants more economic development than I do. I mean, I would love this town to grow and grow and grow. But here again, just like we got, C3 is compatible with residential areas. So that's my opinion.
So I'm wondering now, it would say that
No.
to drop those?
No. If you will go to most any hotel, it is a sit-down restaurant. If it's in working in combination with the hotel, it is not a drive-in restaurant. Let me say this too. Years ago, you changed the planning book. We hired somebody to come in and tell you it was not just for opening up roads. It was for the development and the growth of Magnolia. Number two, we the taxpayers pay your income and pay some of your health insurance to the tune of $50,000. I think the citizens as a whole should have a say of what you all do. And if this is growth for Magnolia, you have an MEDC that has said it was good to have development. This town in 30 years that I've been here has not had any growth. We're holding at 11,000 people or maybe a little less. Anything that doesn't grow, folks, it's just like quicksand. You generally start slowly sinking.
Can I say anything more? It's the proper zoning, Mr. Carrington. And the proper zoning with a C3 with no hotel there is what is compatible to the neighborhood. As you know, you have property that you're representing for someone on the bypass along with all the other realtors. And that's where a hotel needs to be placed, where people can see it. So
I understand.
that's where whoever's,
Please direct your comments.
okay, so that's where, you know, whoever the property owners are, they need to be negotiating more. If their prices are too high or something, then they need to be thinking about the future of Magnolia and letting things come out in on the bypass instead of it letting it be stagnant.
Anything else from Ms. Benton? Benton? Thank you, Ms. Benton.
Okay, thank you very much, council.
Mr. Godwin, you
Yeah.
had your hand raised.
Yes, I'm with the understanding this city is trying to grow. Now, whether this lady likes it or not, the city is moving out this direction. It's growing, both sides of the street. The east-north street is growing. And she thinks that she can just stop growth where she can't. And the city council, their job is to help the city grow, not just hold it back where it was 10 years ago. And that's the way I'm understanding the city council's job for, is to help the city. The planning commission said it was good for the city, 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Godwin. Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance? Make a motion to hold it.
Oh, yeah. I thought that you read through the motion. I was correct.
Am I right, he withdrew his,
Well, he withdrew it, and then when he found out he'd have to go back to get a variance from planning commission, he reinstated it, I think.
That's correct.
okay, so
With the option that I can make a special planning commission meeting.
So I'm here to ask for a motion on Mr. Godwin's property from C3 to C2 commercial.
Whether or not there is a push.
Okay. Let me do that. We've heard from both sides, we've heard from Mr. Godwin, we've heard from the council. So now I would ask for a motion to rezone the property owned by Oliver Godwin from C3 commercial to C2 commercial. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to deny rezoning the C2. I second the motion.
There's a motion made to deny the rezoning and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Waller, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mike Wood,
Yes.
James Moore, Rodney Peterson,
No.
Margie Russ, Neil Cheatham, Gary Farah,
Yes.
Sam Whitelaw,
No.
four yes, three no.
Okay, motion carries.
Well, I think the motion carries because that's
second to rezone all of the Godwin property on East North and Lamont from C3 commercial to C2 commercial. Do we have a change there? Is a second?
James Moore. Ronnie Peterson.
Yes.
Margie Rose.
That's a no vote, I mean, that's a abstention.
Neil Cheatham. Gary Farah.
No.
Sam Whitelaw.
Yes.
Mike Lewis.
No.
I have 4 yes, 3 no, and 1 abstention.
On District 1, put Mr. James Planning Commission.
Well, he can go to the planning commission and seek a variance, and when it does that, understand, as I explained, that will not come back here. The decision of the planning commission will be final except for